Hi, welcome to Pcarmarket Live. My name is David Jacobson, and you are watching Inside the Market, another episode of Inside the Market, where we're going to talk about some special cars that you may be looking for, you may be interested in, that may be some great information that may help you save money, or if you're selling, it may help you make more money on your car. And I am, as always, here with Jim Barry. Hey, Jim.
Hello, everybody.
Jim, Senior VP at Pcarmarket, and obviously a very, very seasoned valuation expert for the Porsche and other cars, such as Mercedes, BMWs. You know, everyone thinks Jim is this Porsche-file lunatic, but the reality is that Jim has tremendous knowledge in the young-timer world, big time, as far as Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, Jim, right?
Yeah, all the 90s stuff, yeah.
All the 90s stuff.
Stuff I grew up around.
Yeah, what's funny is we try to make him all Porsche, but he reminds me constantly, he goes, you do know that I love Mercedes as much as Porsche, right?
I do say that a lot.
You do, because and he's actually getting me more into them. I mean, I've always been into older Mercedes. I've had some older Mercedes and BMWs, and he knows that. But he is very, very, he's always had a major passion for these German cars primarily.
Yeah.
And it serves us well now.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that on here one day.
We'll have to talk about that. How about you Porsche guys? Want to hear some Mercedes and BMW stuff? We'll try to find a good balance. But we are Pcarmarket. We are a Porsche and enthusiast automotive auction. We deal with all makes and models of enthusiast vehicles. And I'm going to give you a quick tour, because I've done it the last few weeks, of exactly where we are here as far as the place is concerned. We did some construction. The offices are done. We just put up this beautiful, I forget what it's called, this light, this overlight, studio light. And we're going to be doing a show. I'm going to show you the setting here, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it. Let's take a quick look at it. John, you with me here? Let's take a look. So you'll see here we have our bar, and there's John. But we have this new lighting system here, which provides great studio lighting, not only for photos, for people that drop their cars at Pcar, but also for the new show we have coming up. Cars absolutely look beautiful here. And just figured I'd give you a little tour. And that's back where I'm going to be seated. There's Jim, and there's our offices, and that's the new look and what's happening right now. We'll talk a little bit about that show. What's basically going to happen, I'm going to turn my phone off because I keep getting texts and it bothers me. What we have here is we have a show that's starting here. We're going to be able to feature some Pcarmarket cars, as well as other cars for people that want to show off their vehicles. And I mean show off like that, but to show the world their beautiful pieces of art and what they love to drive. The show is going to be called This Is My Car. And that's right. If you're interested in having your car here and you're near the New York Oyster Bay area, you want to be part of our show, send us an email at info@pcar. We can always put you in contact with the producer who will schedule the cars that come on. But we have some cool stuff coming on. I think one of the first shows, we have an incredible 993 custom Targa that was done by a pretty famous car designer, and he built a car for, he says, his wife. Okay, but the car is spectacular. I'm not going to mention names because I don't think she knows about it yet. So.
And what's cool about that light is, I was reading the manual, for the people who aren't in the area, that can actually teleport their car in.
Yeah, you're ruining the fun here. We actually have a button that's, and then your car just appears under this light.
Now I know why it was so expensive. I had to read the manual, and I figured it out.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, he ruined the surprise, but yeah, we teleport cars in here as long as, you pay for the transportation. So the show is going to be called This Is My Car. It's going to be a show where we actually interview the driver. We show all the cool features of these rare, special, unique cars. And then we take a ride. And then we actually stop by a local a place over here where there's a cool car guy who owns a local shop, who's going to, weigh in on the car and have some people and have some public opinion on the car, which is kind of a unique twist on what's out there. So we're looking forward to it. So stay tuned. This is my car, and if you're interested in being part of that, send an email to info@pcarmarket.com. And I will be remiss if I didn't say this, and my little guy punches me when I come home if I don't. So subscribe. There's a subscribe button right below our video. Hit that subscribe button so you could be reminded of all of the new segments and shows that come out. So today, let's get to it. Today we're going to be doing something interesting. We're going to be looking the M491. These cars were available. The Turbo Look was available in a G body, a 964 and a 993, but the M491 was available in the G body. And we're also going to look at a turbo, and we're going to look at another really cool naturally aspirated turbo conversion. So we got some cool G body M491 turbo Strangos. And I just want to just go through a few things here to get started. The M491 is tricky because, Jim, no matter how much data you try to source and how much information you gather, there's always a discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as how many they really made. Right? When you were looking, you gave me a number, I researched another number.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's real and what's not. We do know they're rare.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that you can be rest assured on. But,
that's the key, is that these numbers, we say to you, we use these terms loosely as far as the build numbers are here. But let me share a few things with you. Number one is they say there was 80, from 1984 through 89, there were 688 G-body M491 coupes. And then and I'm going to put this on the screen, John, so you don't have to worry. I'll put this on the screen. 1984 through 89, 688 coupes, 290 Cabriolet, and 102 Targas of the G-body M491. Now, Supposedly.
Yes.
No, because if you go to, and I'm going to put up a site over here that claims to have more accurate information,
right.
But what's interesting is people need to remember that the M491 was not a model. It was an option.
That's right.
So, maybe today it's a big deal, but when Porsche was doing this, it may have not been documented as clearly and as precisely if it was a model, because that would be like...
Yeah, and that's the only car they really did that with. Everything after that was, it had a name, like America Roadster or C4S or...
Exactly.
Even the C4 wide body in the 964. They called it that.
They called it a C4 wide body, exactly. This is just an option code, and then even if you wanted to get the you'll see we're going to have a couple with the tail delete, which was a 470, an M470 package. So there was a lot of things you could do to make these cars even cooler, and they're awesome cars, and they're kind of fluctuated with price over the few years. But here's one thing, John, I want to show everyone, is this website called Turbo Look Register, which is turbo-look.com, and it really goes through the different... It looks like they took a lot of Wikipedia stuff and cut and pasted, but whatever, that's good information. And I think there's a registry of cars here, and you can actually look into how many were built. You'll see here M491 U.S. cars and so forth. And this goes through all the wide body cars, not just the G body cars. So anyway, there's a resource that you may want to check out. It does, it has a registry here, which we'll talk about. You can actually look if you want to choose which exact car you're looking for. M90 ROW, which is rest of the world, for those of you that don't know. If you want to choose a color, you can choose the blue, and on and on and on. And it'll actually give you a list of what, it's actually a little slow right now, but it'll give you a list. Here you go, the name of the person that owns the car. I'm not sure exactly how accurate it is, but the color, and if you want more information, click here. We'll let you mess around with that. So pretty cool.
It is cool.
So if you're into the turbo body, the wide body, turbo look cars over the three generation of Porsches, then please check it out. They're not a sponsor, we're just putting it up there to give some additional information. So
resource.
This is a good resource. So let's get to what we're going to show you today. We have some auction results on some of these cars that were pretty cool. Some of you may have seen these end already. One of them's here. One is going to bring a trailer. Then we have a few more from here that are M491 or turbos. Anyway, so we have over here the first one, Jim. Check it out. This is a 1986 Cabriolet M491 with the M470 spoiler delete. Okay, so this car is beautiful. Now, it's debatable. Do you like this car with or without the spoiler? I know it's cool to have a spoiler delete. Everyone when you look at the new GT3 Touring, the smooth body lines with no tail on it, it has a monster appeal, I don't know if this car translates the same way. If you take the tail off of a wide body G body, does it have the same cool, it sounds good in theory. Take the wing off, you have that wide rear without the tail on it, so it doesn't distract from the wide body. But I don't know. I think I may like this car better with the wing on it. So, what do you think?
It's interesting because when you look at all the other wide body cars, right, these are true photocopies of the turbo. It just doesn't have the turbo. But everything else is visually the same. The future cars are not like that. They don't have wings as standard. They don't have necessarily the same wheels as standard in some cases, right? Like the 3.6 turbo had different wheels than the 94 C4 wide body. So this car is basically, you're getting a turbo without the turbo. So you have to delete the wing. In any other variation, you have to add the wing. So that's interesting. I kind of agree with you. On the later cars, I like it without the wing.
Yeah.
On this car, I think it needs the wing. However, look at the 89 Speedster. The wing would destroy that car, and that's a G-body. And that's so, you know, maybe it's just a lower windshield.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know. It's really taste, but it's definitely cool to see it without it because I don't think I've really seen one too recently without the wing, you know, so.
You know what? Would the wing ruin the 89 Speedster? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, listen,
know.
I saw a hot rod once. I think it was for sale. Remember, it was an 89. It had like a turbo on it or something like that. It had the way. It looked cool, but I like the way that car looks.
Well, tell us what you think. Do you think an 89 Speedster would be destroyed with a wing? Or if it had a new styled or more of a unique wing? Listen, it's all subjective. It's definitely a taste thing.
Because remember, that's a minimalist car. Yeah, I mean, it's lighter weight.
Yes.
I mean, so you just take it off.
But I think when you cut the windshield...
It's not fast.
No, it's not. It's not fast. It's definitely momentum, fun driving, but it's not a monster speedster. So anyway, let's get to it. 86 Porsche. The car ended at $66,000, just about 70 grand all in. I think, again, this car a few years ago, these cars are weird. You know, with the world going up in price, with everything increasing in a lot of different ways in the Porsche world and outside the Porsche world, this car really paused, right? It really paused.
It's interesting because it's like, you know, it's like you ever see one of those situations where like, you know, maybe everybody's getting in the pool and you don't know what to do because, you know, someone said don't go in the pool. The turbos came down so much. What do these cars do? I mean, they can't become $30,000 cars.
Do you understand how confusing this is? Do you understand how confusing this is?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you could be, there's a million shows that could be, you know, discussing the values on these cars. The bottom line is 66 grand for this car is all the money today.
Yeah.
But wow, what a value. What a value. When you put an A+ in an opportunity in a buy, like buy now, like if you're doing a stock thing and you're saying, is it a good buy or is it a hold or is it a sell?
No, it's a good buy. Because to me, you know, under 100 grand to have a car this special is good. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Not that I'd run out and spend 80, 90 grand on it, but under 100 grand is appealing to have a collectible 911 Porsche, you know, air-cooled car.
I mean, listen, it is an 84,000-mile G-body. It's not super powerful. It is a fun car, but it is what it is. So how big of a deal is the wing delete? And also, this car had a recent engine service.
The 915 transmission.
The 915 transmission. Right. The 87s and newer had a G50, which we'll get to on the next one. But they had a C of A, nice presentation, nice photos. So here I go, and I apologize. I got so mesmerized, you know, talking about this. I'm not going through the pictures, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take another second here and go through the photos.
We did have one that sold for about 10 grand more a few months ago, but that had like what I would call almost a one-off interior. You know, had that really special like green interior. I don't know if you want to put it up on the screen real quick, but that was it was the white. And,
there you go. Here you go.
Yeah. Just show them the interior though. That's a cool car. So that sold for 78 plus the fees.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, it had that the inserts with the Sensatech. So that's a special car. It gets a little premium. But
that's cool. That looks like the Club Sport, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit.
I mean, some of the RS Americas had that. It was very cool.
All right, so that is a nice car.
Yeah.
And that sold for how much?
That sold for 78.
78,000.
So you know, these cars could be anywhere between 60 and 90, depending on the mileage and stuff like that. You know, I would imagine if you had maybe like a 5,000-mile car, it could even to way more than that. You know what I mean? But for this caliber of car, nice high-level driver is what these two cars are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems about right. And then we'll move to the next one, which is the G50 version of this.
The G50 version. So Bring a Trailer did this beautiful photo shoot. Look at this. It looks like a brand new car.
Yeah, that guy knew how to shoot a car.
He knew how to shoot a car. What was interesting is that when this auction was going on, it got to a certain number real quickly, and everyone thought there was going to be this big extravaganza at the end and get to over 100, but the car stopped at like 88.5. Take a look at this, John. Beautiful car again. So what we have here is a 1988 911 Carrera Cabriolet with the same package as the previous one that was on Pcarmarket, M491 with the M470. spoiler delete.
And they were running like the same week. I think this one ended. I forgot which one ended first, but it's irrelevant. But they were the same week. They were going simultaneously.
Yeah. Did the other one have sports seats on Pcar?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, this one has sports seats. This one had a little bit less mileage on it. It was again a G50 on this particular car. It had 61,000 miles, 20,000 miles less. There were only about 188 cabs in 1988. Again, give or take. But we know it's a very, very rare car. Sports seats and at Bilstein shocks and some other some suspension stuff. But how big of a deal is the wing again? You know, who really knows? But this car presented nicely, C of A, and so forth and so on. Beautiful car. I'll just play some video here. Very similar to the other one. Again, the G50 compared to the 915. The car is, I would say they're both close condition-wise. Yeah. What's your thoughts about the numbers here?
I expected it to do somewhere around 80 or above, so, it was more on the higher side, but like in terms of correctness, I actually dig the top, but it's not the correct top. He put a 993 convertible top, and you could see it in that photo you're in right there. It's a much more streamlined looking top. It's nicer, but, to someone that's collecting it or maybe trying to, get a Concours trophy, it's not correct. You know what I mean?
Right, this one here.
Yeah, but it's nice. I mean, look how nice it looks. It's much more streamlined. Right. And than the one that comes on the car. But
there are some things worth upgrading, I guess, right?
Yeah. But it's interesting when a car gets so high in price so early on in the auction. I like that, you know what I mean? Because it just, in one respect, it takes away some of the action, all these little bids. It just creates like a little, event. But another, it just cuts out a lot of the noise and just shows there's real people there.
Sometimes it's not really. It's not looking for the show. We're looking for the real deal.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot more of that happening. It happened last week with that Malachite green turbo we sold. The car got to 80 grand on like day 2 or something. Yeah.
I'm gonna go actually into that one. I think. We're actually doing an ice green one. But so this one over here did 88.5 as opposed to 66 for the 915. So again, just to compare, 86. G50. An M491 G50 does 66. This is an 88 with a G50.
G50 and nice contrasting interior, which always I think helps. I always think the contrasting interior helps a little bit.
Yeah, and again, anyone would have bet this car's going over 100 grand easily, and I would have thought the same thing. But it stopped at 88.5. I think the buyer got a reasonably good deal on it, but the seller has got to walk away there.
Yeah, I think the people who thought that, though, I think it's because they see all the hype around the car. The car was getting a lot of eyes.
Yes, it was.
But I don't think it was necessarily worth that. I think this was fairly bought and sold.
So the next one we have here is a 1984 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe with the M491 package.
This is the first year.
This was the first year. Yep, first year. And what's really nice about this car, besides the fact that it's pewter, which is a beautiful color with an awesome interior, but also it has the sunroof delete, which is one of our favorite things. I know one of mine. Yeah. We both appreciate that. And it just looks cooler and a little more headroom and a little more sinister, a little more sports car. But this one had 60. What was the mileage on this one here?
61-ish, yeah.
81. I'm sorry. 81,000 miles. I actually have the details up of the older car still. 81,000 miles, pewter metallic, and we also look at this interior, man. How beautiful is that interior with the sports seats?
Checked all the boxes. It's got sports seats, sunroof delete, cool color, so it's got all the boxes on it.
Yeah, look at that. The motor, nice shape. The car had 81,000 miles. It's sunroof delete. We called it a high-level driver. Well presented. All the details that you needed over here. I just wanted to put it on this. There was no video on this car.
No.
That was one of the things I was very disappointed because I wanted to watch it. But the car was well described. The photos really did a nice job. You could see again the M491 Coupe. Its stance, the way this car sits. Obviously the pewter with the black sets off nicely. And when you open that door and see that interior, you really are looking at something very, very, very special. But what was your thought, Jim, about the number? What did this car sell for?
It sold for 71, and obviously you don't get to see a lot of these sell too often. So, I saw a couple sell around 60 that were nowhere near as nice as this. But, similar type of mileage. So I think it got the premium for all the little accoutrements that it has. And I think if this was a if at half the mileage, this car would have definitely been, like around a six-figure car because of the configuration. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
For sure.
No doubt that the mileage, the condition, a little wear on the seats and stuff, which is fine. It's a beautiful car. But the bottom line is, we have a car coming up that we're going to maybe preview.
Yeah.
We'll
see if we can get a preview before this airs.
We're trying to get a preview. This is a 30,000-mile paint to sample.
Well, I'm not sure if it's paint to sample. We're still doing it. Either way, it's a rare color.
It's a rare color with
it's a G50 M491 Coupe, yeah.
A G50 M491 Coupe coming up in the next day or two on Pcarmarket. Definitely stay tuned on that one because that is going to be some freaking thing to watch, man.
Car, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be really nice.
What's nice about this one is you could drive this car. It presents itself nice. I think it had a lot of original paint. I think there's a little rock chip repair done in the front. But you could drive this, you can enjoy it, and it's still collectible. It's still a nice investment. And I think everybody was happy on both ends of that deal.
So again, a dark blue sports seats, pewter gray, 81,000 miles, sunroof delete, high-level driver, Salsa 71 plus, and no one could be disappointed on the buyer or the seller on this car.
No,
without a doubt. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next one. The next one here, we're going to get away from the 491s. We're staying with wide body. This is an actual turbo. This is an 87. Let me get this down here a little bit here. An 87 turbo with an M505, which is a slant nose, factory slant nose. Again, these are options. People forget that these are options. This is an option package on a 930 turbo, a 930, and this is the 505, which is the slant nose. This car had some mods. Beautiful, beautiful car in Guards Red. I believe, right? Guards Red, yeah. And it has some mods such as a TurboCraft intercooler, wastegate, upgraded intake, fab speed exhaust. The original parts, most of the original parts are included. A little bit of body work, not too much. I mean, some paint work, not body work. Excuse me. A little bit of paint work, and the aftermarket wheels, which happen to look really nice. It
looks nice.
I'm not a big fan of aftermarket wheels, but these do look great on this car.
I think the slant nose lets you get away with it. Without the slant nose, those wheels, it really wouldn't work on the car. You know what I mean?
No, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do these really look good. They have like a Speedline 3.6 Turbo E cool look to them.
Yeah.
But Jim, as far as the condition of this car and the market on this car, how do we do here?
Well, I think normally the mods are going to hurt a car a lot more, but I think slant noses are so rare. You know what I mean? Because everywhere you look, you just see a fake one, a kit, and it starts to become like annoying to look at kits. You know what I mean? Unless they're done right. So I think this car probably sold for about what it would have without the mods. And I believe a lot of the original parts are still included with it. So somebody has the option to put it back. But it just looks like, again, it's a 50,000-mile car, so it's a Survivor, but it's not a Concours. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful driver. It's definitely an appreciating asset, and I think this is, this is another unsettled market, the slant noses. I mean, you saw numbers in the 2s and even 3s in some cases.
Yeah.
And they've come down to reality, but a real documented slant nose car is going to be something that people are going to come out of the woodworks for, and this auction also, it got over $100,000 early, right? If I'm not mistaken on that.
I think this auction was weird because it actually got to $100,000 quickly and then kind of stalled a little bit. Yeah. I think for a few days, and then towards the end, and obviously the last day, it went boom, 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 and it got up to a number where the seller actually felt it was okay to let it go.
Well, that's the trend I noticed. When they get to a high number quickly, you don't see as much bidding over the 7 days. You know what I mean? And then in the end, you see some bidding. I mean, this one, it kind of, I thought it was going to stop a lot earlier, and it just, it kept like holding on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what? The psychology of an auction, it's wild. Some of them sit there for a while. Some of them zoom up and pause, and some of them just actually, just really wait and do nothing until the last 10 minutes. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to have a good stomach for some of this stuff. But the bottom line is this car, again, some could say this car was really well sold in today's market with some mods and stuff like that, not original paint, right? This car was well sold.
It was well sold, yeah. However, I could say if the buyer's listening, the seller didn't want to sell it for that price, so he did well.
He didn't want to sell it for that price.
Yeah,
it was tough to let go, but that's my point.
Yeah.
This is why this is a weird world, because right now, this car could be, clearly worth $175,000, $180,000 if the trend continues that's been happening over the last year and a half. But this car could also maybe go down to 150, 140 if everything gets a little, the pressure, there's more downward pressure over here.
Right.
The end of the day is you buy the car, enjoy it. You're within that range of whether it's an investment or an enjoyable, asset or just an enjoyable car to drive. And more power to everyone in this transaction because it was a lovely car.
Yeah, and we're happy it sold.
We're happy, yeah, absolutely.
You don't want a car like that to not sell. It's special.
No. And the number was at a number where it should sell, and I think the seller realized that, and there you have it. So there you go, 1987 slant nose, 158 plus the fee, a little over 160. Nice vehicle. Now we're going to I think the final car here. People went crazy over this car. I know a lot of people who are into following and into Magnus Walker, recognized and have maybe an affinity for this car because of the ice green color, and they've seen it in a lot of maybe whether it be movies that he's made or posts. But beautiful color, there's no doubt. The car looks beautiful, it sits beautiful, but what was very unique about this car is this. Take a look, 77 930. With the turbo removed,
right?
Has a 3.6. Was it a 964 motor in there? Do we know?
I believe it was. You could check.
It was a 964 motor. Where are we going here?
Going a little more.
G50 3.6 inspired.
Just a 3.6.
So it's a 3.6 G50. The turbo removed. You could see there was no intercooler in 1977. So the tail is a really cool,
very special
Carrera tail.
Very special.
Very special. And when you look at this, the interior was this green. This was it. What kind of green are they calling this? Just the green leather.
Yeah.
But what a cool car. The stance, the way it sits, the color combination, the changes that were made to this car. Sometimes things just happen to a car.
Yeah.
There's just like a history of what was done at certain times that makes it very special that you can't even plan. And who really knows actually how this car winded up getting all of the cool things happen to it. With the engine, the G50 and stuff. But what's cool is this car could have went anywhere price wise.
Yeah, I had a lot of people ask me. I had some people say it was a great number because they really understand it. And then I've had people who don't understand ask me why it wasn't $140,000. You know what I mean? So, and it's a great question. You know what I mean? And it's because, if you had a high mileage or a tired turbo, right, that maybe needed an engine reseal, and you opted to just swap in a 3.6 instead of redo the motor,
yeah,
it's kind of like cost-wise, I mean, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a car that's an equal value. Now, if you took a motor and you built a fresh 3.6, you know what I mean? And it was a brand new motor shoved in there, everything new, and maybe, you made the seats a little more fresh and got rid of that steering wheel and stuff like that. Boom, you're over $100,000 on that car. So this guy has ultimate flexibility. He's probably going to leave it the way it is, which is what I would do.
Absolutely.
And enjoy it. But hopefully he changes the steering wheel. And if he wants to put money in it.
You and I had a big problem with that steering wheel.
Listen, we know what it is, Yeah. I say this, if anyone's ever sold a car and spoke to me, they know I have this famous saying. I say, nobody really needs anything we sell. These are all wants. So if you're not getting excited looking at it, why are you buying it? You have to be excited about it to buy it. No one's buying this because, I need this car to go to work tomorrow.
That's
no
right.
one's doing that.
That's a good point.
So this car, if it had a better steering wheel, I think it would have maybe... It would have
got $200 more.
It would have got a lot more than the steering wheel. Maybe another $4,000 or $5,000.
Seriously?
Like I think so.
You think the steering wheel hurt this car by $4,000?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that? For those of you, for those of you,
do you think I'm crazy? You understand that?
Listen, you're crazy, but however, for those of you that think he's totally nuts, there are things that actually people will look at quickly and will automatically go off of it because of something that turned them off, and that's an extra bidder.
Well, I have a perfect analogy. We've talked about the Porsche Classic radio. When someone takes a $200,000 car and puts a garbage Best Buy radio in it, it makes you feel like, what else did they do wrong on this car? When they put a Porsche Classic radio in the car, it shows they cared about the car. So I'm not saying this guy didn't care about the car. It's just that it's an older aftermarket steering wheel.
The reason why this is such an important conversation is because it's real life. I'm going to say this to you again. I'm going by. Look at this picture. I'm going to go by. I'm going to look at a photo. I'm going to look at this picture. I was not invested or vested in looking at this car and falling in love. I just saw this wheel and I said, that's not for me. And I'm going to click out and go to another car.
The wood shifter.
The wood shifter.
Wood shifter and the right wheel in that car.
But if this had a cool wheel, maybe a prototipo or maybe even one of those. We see without that circle, without that circle.
That's really what kills it. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you could either do like the 930 Sport wheel, or a cool prototypo, something cool in that car.
But it had that cool.
And that's it. But you know what? The next guy, the guy who bought the car, he's got himself a heck of a car.
Yes.
He can make it his own. I'm sure he's going to, because that's what people with cars like this do. They make it their own.
Absolutely. Look at that leather dash in that green.
Yeah, that's so cool. The seats, everything's in pretty nice condition. You could do a little dye work and make that perfect, or leave it the way it is. And the outside of the car looks lovely.
And those side. The pop-outs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You need that because the ACs don't work.
Listen, and you know what it is with these cars. It's like you said, you don't need them. It's all about emotion. And when you look at it, listen, somebody may have loved that wheel, so we're not really knocking the taste there. It's really, you really like in other words, when a lot of cars we have that have stripes on it, somebody had their real personal taste put on a car.
Right.
We advise them remove the stripes. I know that if the car doesn't sell, you're going to be stuck with the stripes off the car. It's worth the risk.
Yeah.
Because there was an R8 we had. I don't remember that R8 we had.
Oh, with the wrap on it and the stripes.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You took 95% of the market
Well, that's
out.
why it didn't sell. Yeah.
Out. Nobody's. I mean, there's nobody really interested. It's a waste.
Well, how many times when we were dealers we used to do that? We'd take a car in that somebody's maybe trying to sell for 3 months.
Well, let people.
And we put
hold
the
on.
wheels back to
Listen,
normal
let
and
people-
everything, and they buy
let
it.
people listen to what you're saying and look at you and say this again, John. Say that again.
I said, how many times when we were dealers did we take a car in that someone was maybe trying to sell for 3 months, and it had black wheels or stripes or something, and we put it back to stock, and it sells in 3 days. And then the funny part is the guy who bought it wants black wheels, but it was advertised as black wheels for 3 months.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Dealers do it all the time. They'll take a car in, they'll clean it up, dye something, change a shifter, change a steering wheel, change this or that, nothing big investment-wise, repackage it, nice photos, and make $15,000 extra on the car. Message here. Work with the photo editors that we have. Get those photos. You don't have to be a photo genius to get really nice photos. Follow the instructions. Clean your motor off. Wipe the dust off. Get all the dirt off the floor. Don't have your shoes in the photos, your shoelaces in the photos. But besides that, just make the car as broadly appealing as possible.
The guy's got a beautiful car, right? The seller was a nice guy. He did a great job. And I think he did the right thing with the drivetrain. And then he just drove the car and left it there. You know what I mean? Some people want to go all the way, okay, what are we doing with the brakes? What are we doing with the suspension? What are we doing with the interior? You know what I mean? And they want to think out every detail. Should I do custom gauges? Should I do this? Should I do that? So what's nice about this car is it was bought at a price for what it's worth. And now somebody can go and do all those things. If they want to change seats, whatever they want to do, they could do it.
Yes.
Custom wheels, whatever, So
regardless, what was really funny about this is at the end of the auction, there was somebody with the name Mag W.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who said, I want to take a picture of you with my car. And I think the owner and everyone who was watching thought Magnus was actually reaching out.
Yeah.
Because he wanted the guy to take it. So the guy was all excited. He said, he actually let us know. He says, tell Magnus that I'm going to be flying to California, to pick up the car to drive back to Florida. And I don't think that was Mag W, it was Magnus.
No.
So I hope they connected. Maybe he did connect with Magnus. Magnus, you may want to reach out to this gentleman. He was all excited that he thought you were interested in taking a picture with the car, which would be cool.
It would be very cool.
Magnus's turbo, right? I'm not sure exactly what year his is, but I think it may be the same.
It might be the same, yeah.
Maybe the same year in the ice green. But anyway, I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think we're done. Thank you all for watching. There's M491s, Cabriolets, Coupes, Turbo, G-Body. In that, we wanted to hit on a couple of different cars in the G-Body, M491, in that really cool segment.
Yeah, when we see interesting stuff, we want to show everybody and share it. And, and that's what we wait for. We wait for the right comps, and then we come out and say, hey, here you go.
Yeah, I think next week, we have a lot of people that are writing to us about getting 996s. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to nail that next week. We'll get into the 996s, all the different variations and the pricing and and what's going on in trends, pricing trends in that market and the 996. So thank you so much for watching again. We do appreciate. We know you could spend your time doing a lot of things, and watching our podcast is much appreciated. Check out Pcarmarket. We have tremendous cars on and coming on. We thank you for all the people that have sold cars and are commenting on our site. We appreciate you. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Inside the Market. And don't forget, we have This Is My Car. It's going to be debuting, I believe, April 1st. So stay tuned. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.